Okay, that's probably as good as I'm gonna worry about getting it for right now. So what we're looking at here is you've got all these Tonearm wires. Now some of the Tonearm wires are for signal. Some of the Tonearm wires are for the vertical sensor that's actually in the Tonearm, right? So up and down. And then you've got Tonearm wires that are attached to this kind of I'll call it a feedback circuit, where you've got the horizontal motor, right? So where the Tonearm goes in and out, and you've got some sensors. So the motor and the sensors, from what I gather from the service manual, right, use these coils. Now, this is the motor coil, and then there's another coil underneath that is the sensor coil, I think. At least that's what I saw in the picture. So what I suspect is that there may be a wire that came loose, right, for one of these other, but I can tug on these and they don't appear to move. So like I would think that that would come out of there if one of these were broken. And same on this side. That's not coming up, and that's not coming up. And what I'm really worried about doing with this is dismantling this. It's just not something I am looking forward to doing. Now I believe these sets of wires are for the horizontal motor, and then there are wires that attach to the board here that go underneath and attach to the sensor. And none of these wires appear to be disconnected either. I'm just tugging on them a little bit, and I'm meeting resistance for all of them. So I don't know. I don't know what the right thing to do is here, but I didn't see anything else anywhere else that would cause the Tonearm to move so quickly. I can't find any adjustments. There is a horizontal kind of sensor, and I tried adjusting that, and it seems to be adjusted just fine. And it uses these two transistors, which you can't see because it's off camera. So let me show you the two transistors. And I measured the voltage on these two transistors, and they're swinging positive and negative as they should. So if I look at the emitters on these and I hit the in or the out button, I'm showing positive voltage in the proper direction and negative voltage in the other direction. So I'm getting like plus. I think it's plus 13 and negative 12, which is close enough. And I don't, if it was off, you know, if that plus 13 would cause the issue, I would kind of expect it to only be in one direction, but it's moving fast in both directions. These coil wires seem to be attached. Now there's another set of coil wires on that other board that could potentially be the problem, but I don't understand why it would work that one time unless this elevator was just so gummed up that the grease there was slowing everything down. So I really don't know what to do at this point. Again, everything has been verified. Now there are 30 different waveforms and 30 different test points. Some of them are measuring things from the pin of one of these integrated circuits. So I just don't, I'm kind of at a point where I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should dismantle this, which it's a nasty procedure because this is like 5 layers of stuff, and I've got to take this apart and remove that, and I just don't know. And again, I actually resoldered all of these wires. Right? Now what I was considering doing, assuming it's the horizontal position sensor, I was considering removing one wire at a time and see what happens. So what my thinking is if I remove the red wire and there's no change, maybe there's an issue with the red wire. If I remove the red wire and it goes crazy, right, then I would think that that red wire is performing some function. So rather than mess around with disassembling this at this point in time, I may do that and just see, because my thinking is if I remove the right wire or the white wire and there's no change, right, and whatever wire, if I remove a wire and there's no change, maybe that's the wire that has a broken connection. But I don't know if that's a good strategy or not. And I would think if I removed one or two wires and you know, there was no change, then maybe I'm not looking at it right. But it's early. I've only had one. Well, I've had 2 cups of coffee. But I've got about an hour this morning to work on this. I did. I think I mentioned replacing the LEDs in the 65 video. I show you the LED board that's underneath here. You remove these 2 screws. You remove this switch. You remove this board, and then you could get to it pretty easy. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to remove a wire at a time, flip this thing over, and see what happens. So I'm not going to film all of those steps, but if I do notice something as I remove these wires, then I'll click in, because yeah, that's just going to be pretty simple. Remove a wire, flip it over, test it, you know, see what happens, put the wire back, and so on and so forth. I don't know. I think I'm close. I think I'm really close. I just I don't want to get stuck on this wire thing too much, and I certainly don't want to disassemble that if I don't have to. Problem is, there are no experts out there. There's no resident knowledge on these turntables on any of the forums. So you post a question out there, no one responds because they're so complex. So anyway, let me start removing some wires and see what happens. Oh man, this is not for the squeamish. Not at all. Trying to get this in a little bit better position. Sorry, I don't have enough room on my bench, and my mount won't allow me to really move the camera much further. So now my head is going to have to pop into the scene, so that's just how it's going to have to be. So I want to mark this where these little screws are. Got a couple of Allen screws here, so mark those so I know where those go, and I'm marking them on the inner barrel so I can line this back up. Now I'm hoping I may have to pull these through here one at a time and then put the tape back on these wires so I can keep them straight. But that's Tonearm. This is what I'm calling the vertical, so there's a little V there. These are the horizontal. So yeah, this is going to be fun. All right, back to disassembly. All right, I think I found the issue. Well, I know what the issue is, I just don't know where the issue is. So what I failed to do when I pulled this apart and tested it was I failed to test the continuity of each coil. So basically I didn't go from, see where the coil wires attached to the coil. I did not test to make sure that both ends, right, both ends of the coil, so both ends of those coil wires, there's continuity between the two. So what I did, because it's basically just a coiled loop, is I removed sorry, shaky cam. I removed get this toothpick. I removed the blue wire, the white wire, and tested for resistance between the two. I got about 175 ohms. I tested between the red and the green. It's open. So I think there's an issue with the coil. I need to look up to see if it's the red or the white coil, but I think there's an issue with the break in the coil. Have no idea how to repair that. I mean, I have an idea conceptually, but I have no idea the feasibility of actually repairing that coil. So, but my battery's going to die. I need to go charge the camera. I'm going to jump back into this, not right away, but I will fart around with this, see if I can find the break in the coil, see if I can get it working. All right, as you can see, I broke this down, took the next step. I have continuity across all the coils. Everything is connected, but I do want to show you the grease. There's a lot of grease in here, and just like on any other turntable, this grease will get hardened. It'll get kind of sticky. Now, the green wire was actually sitting up between this little cracked platform here. You can see the cracks that are forming in it. So it was trapped. I don't think that had anything to do with what was going on, but it was trapped. See how the blue kind of runs along the coil, and this green was not running along the coil. So I'm going to reposition that. I'm going to clean up this grease and then put some lithium grease down on it. So anyway, I wanted to show you that, but all the coils seem to test okay, so I have no idea. I'm kind of down to maybe the IC is bad. But this was maintenance that I needed to do anyway on this, so we'll see what happens when I put everything back together. Hopefully it works. All right, so this is still demon possessed, and this video is really as much for me as it is for the channel. I don't even know if I'll include this. What I've done to this point is just about everything I know to do. Completely disassembled the Tonearm underneath, verified the coils were moving. There's a video on there showing that I verified continuity, not moving, continuity amongst the coils, continuity to every wire going to every board on here. I swapped IC 110 and 112. They're the same chip, and I'm still getting the same. And what it's doing is since removing the grease on the Tonearm, I have to help it settle into a position because it moves too freely now. So it'll just keep doing this for like quite a while. So if I kind of help the Tonearm settle down, it'll drop. And then it'll still return at the end of a record. So put it there, hit the end, pop up, come back, super fast. So I believe I've eliminated. The only thing I can't do is get into this. I cannot get these stupid ass screws out. I think I have a tool at work I might be able to grab and use to get at those screws to back those out. If there's a wire that's disconnected here, I guess that could cause the issue. I've literally eliminated everything in the circuit, including the integrated circuit, all of the coil wires. I don't know what else it could be. I really don't. And there are no experts on these that are answering any forum posts on the internet, at least quickly. And I actually have a post on my X75 that's been out there for 2 months now, and no one's even responded to it. So I think all of the corporate knowledge on how these work has kind of dried up. So anyway, I need to put this away because I just need to get away from it for a while. But again, I'm gonna put this back together, and worst case, I can still use this as a manual table. That wasn't the goal when I bought it. I really wanted to get this working. Again, I have the replacement plinth for it. I would not replace the plinth on this, but I do want to get the feet off the other one. I'll just see if I can maybe polish this up somehow, which I probably won't be able to do. There was one resistor I moved to R273. Anyway, I replaced this resistor. This was reading 330K. It's supposed to be 1M. So, but there was no difference in how the turntable responded. It still sounds great. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's something buried in there somewhere. So the other one took me about 1.5 years to figure out. This one will probably take me that long as well. So, yep, that's it for now.